Rain chances are very scarce. Our first frost of the season, your 7-day forecast next at the Weather Farm. Good evening and welcome to the Weather Farm. I'm Chief Meteorologist Christopher Hale with your weather for Hendricks County and the surrounding 4-county area. It is Monday, October 14th, and current conditions here at the Weather Farm at the 9 o'clock hour have dropped to 50 degrees under scattered clouds. Winds are out of the north-northwest at 2 miles per hour. If we take a look around the 4-county region at the top of the hour, Crawfordsville, you've already dropped to 50. Parts of Boone County, you have dropped into the mid-40s. We have a 46 out there at Gadsden, 47 in Whitestown, Brownsburg, you're at 49, Avon at 49, Danville at 50, and also in Putnam County, we have upper 40s as well. Temperatures will generally fall into those mid to low 40s or upper 30s across most of our area. A lot will be dependent upon how much cloud cover we see tonight. Frost is not a major concern for this night, but it will be for the next couple of nights. So let's take a look at our daily almanac here at the Weather Farm. We had a high temperature of 58 degrees. This was after a morning low of 47. We've had no precipitation over the last 24 hours, and we've had just a scant trace of precipitation for the month of October. For your Tuesday, October 15th, the sun will rise at 7:56 in the morning and will set at 7:05. If we take a look at our current temperatures around the region at the top of the hour, Indianapolis, you were sitting at 50. South Bend, you're at 45. Lafayette, 49. However, parts of eastern Kentucky have also cooled down into those upper 40s. Again, temperatures will generally fall here in Indiana into those low 40s to upper 30s, but out to our west, that is where temperatures are expected to bottom out as winds are calm there this evening. And we can take a look and we see the effects of that cold front that moved through Indiana. So if we take a look, we see that this here's that line where 24 hours ago that front had not moved through yet. As you can tell, Louisville, you're at 15 degrees colder. Elizabethtown, 19, 20. Indianapolis, you're 8 degrees colder than you were 24 hours ago. So it just shows you at this point last night as we were getting ready to prepare for the night's forecast where that front was at this hour. So we take a look at our national hazards, and the main thing we want to focus on is this area purple here. So parts of Kansas into Missouri, western Illinois, Iowa, most of Iowa, Minnesota into the Dakotas. This is where we expect a freeze warning to happen. Temperatures are expected to be at 28 degrees or below for 4 more hours this coming evening. We also see that here in parts of western lower Michigan near Grand Rapids. That includes you, Kalamazoo. These light blue areas here, these are freeze watches. There's the potential to get down to 28, but we really don't expect temperatures to get that cold or to stay there for 4 or more hours, which would constitute the definition of a hard freeze for those areas. So those are just areas of watch and concern. We're going to watch them to see how far east they move over the next 48 hours. Will those watches and warnings be hoisted across Indiana? That is still to be determined. A lot is going to depend upon the winds that are in play the next couple of nights. So we see from the upper air level charts, we see this trough in the east that's really dictating our weather for the beginning half of this work week. But out to the west, ridging is already occurring and high pressure is starting to move east, which is going to give us nice sunny weather to end this coming week. If you like what we had last weekend, we're going to have another carbon copy of it this coming weekend. It won't be as warm, but we'll have great weather for those fall festivals and the last weekend of the Covered Bridge Festival over in Park County. We see out to the west, we see a lot of troughs beginning to dive in from British Columbia and the Pacific Northwest. They run into the strong high pressure that's in place, and if they do want to make it, they've got to go up and over the ridge, and then they impact the northeast, not really in fact impacting the weather here in Indiana, or really, for that matter, the eastern half of the United States. And this will be the dominant weather pattern for the next 2 weeks. And we kind of see this again with our lows, our precipitation maps. Other than a few sprinkles here in Indiana in the next 36 hours, not a lot's going to happen. We're going to see that storm develop across the Four Corners region. We're going to see precipitation down along Florida, Miami, Key West. but nothing really is going to impact our weather here in the Midwest. This system is going to die out by the weekend. It's going to be followed by another one that's going to dive a little bit deeper, but then it's going to take its classic um, late fall pattern where it's going to come shoot up across the plains. So you're going to have cold air to the west, warm air to the east and south. So you're going to have a classic definition. So we expect this time next week to be maybe potentially talking about severe weather breaking out across the plains in a classic, and then followed by back edge snow in that area. Something to watch. Still 10 days out. The models can definitely change. So looking at our precipitation, again, the highest areas here, 1 to 2 inches of liquid precipitation, either rain or snowfall for those higher mountainous elevations. British Columbia, again, very 2 to 3 feet of snow in those mountains, and across Florida. And then lighter amounts across the rest of the United States. The greatest areas of snowfall, again, are going to be concentrated over the Rockies, western Wyoming, Idaho, southern Montana, and then parts of British Columbia through Sunday. And here locally, again, other than a few sprinkles over the next 36 hours, and maybe a lake effect sprinkle or two for the northwest of Indiana on Wednesday, the weather's going to be very quiet over the next several days. So let's again look at our temperature for tonight. As I mentioned, there's not really the risk of frost for tonight. We will drop to 39 degrees. Scattered clouds early, clearing by morning. This is the key. That wind is going to be out of the north-northwest at 5 to 12 miles per hour. And so if that wind was calm and we had a little bit more clearing, then that would allow the temperature to drop down to about 35 degrees this evening. Because where we measure the temperature is 2 meters above ground, so about 6 feet. So with the winds being up, elevated 5 to 12, it's going to keep those air particles moving around, so that warmth that's still in the air from earlier today, we did have a little bit of sunshine, that's going to keep that warmth just circulating around and won't allow the temperature to cool as quickly as it would. If there were no winds, that heat just radiates out away from the earth with no clouds to keep it in, and our temperatures can bottom very quickly. So that's why we don't think tonight's going to be the night that we have to worry about frost, but the next 2 nights will definitely be nights we want to be concerned about what is going on. Speaking of what's going on, let's look at the tropics. It's been very active, but right now we just have one area of focus here in the central Atlantic. Over the next 48 hours, just a 10% chance of development, but in the 7-day, it has nearly a 60% chance of development. Another area is just south and east of the Yucatan. This is what models were picking up, and so we'll continue to watch this. Why we believe that other storm will have a chance to develop. Look at these sea surface temperatures, 30, 31 degrees Celsius, all along this area. Very warm for this time of year. It's going to be moving into an area that is rich for development. It is in a favorable development zone already. And we see the models as it brings it across here at 48, 72 hours, generally keeps the temperature and the intensity, not the temperature, the pressure, sorry about that, constant. But it moves it towards Puerto Rico, the Dominican, and Haiti. So we'll have to watch this by this time next week to see what happens. The interesting thing is where it's located now, while it is in an area of favorable development, storms that develop here typically start curving out to the North Atlantic. They don't take that westerly track that this one is projected to do. And there are a lot of models, as you can see here from this spaghetti plot, that indicate that it is going to stay west rather than make that curve to the north. The other area that we wanted to mention that's down here south of the Yucatan, this one, some people on social media were talking about how this is going to be the next Hurricane Nadine. It's going to be big like Helene and Milton were. Climatologically, storms that develop here do not go up through the Gulf into Florida like Helene and Milton did. They tend to move towards the west, hit the Yucatan Peninsula, they tend to move into Mexico, and then fall apart as they enter the mountainous terrain. So this is going to be another area that we're going to watch. The previous map had about 30% chance of development in the next 7 days. So again, as more data comes in, as more models get ran, we'll continue to watch that area. So let's take a look at our temperatures here. So again, I mentioned 45 for Indianapolis tonight, 39 here at the weather farm, but upper 30s across most of Indiana for your low temperatures tonight. If we look for tomorrow, again, Indianapolis, you're going to be at 53, Lafayette at 55, Terre Haute 55, generally mid-50s across most of Indiana. And then tomorrow night, that's when we're going to start watching for those frost and freeze watches to be issued. Indianapolis will be at 41. Outer areas definitely could be in those mid-30s. And then for our Wednesday, we're going to have high temperatures again in those mid-50s across most of Indiana. Wednesday night into Thursday is another night we have to watch for frost or freeze potential. We warm quickly on Thursday into the low 60s, which is still below average for this time of year. So we take a look at our 7-day forecast. 53 tomorrow, 55 on Wednesday, 60 on Thursday. Normals are 66 at this time of the year, but then warming up by the weekend with temperatures in the low 70s. Denote those low temperatures in the 30s for most of this week. We hope you've enjoyed your time here at the Weather Farm. We hope to see you again real soon. If you have any comments on what you saw tonight or questions about something we talked about, leave them down below. Hey, thanks again for joining us here at the Weather Farm. Up here in the upper right, there is a video that you can watch, see other content we have here. Down below is our subscribe button. If you like what we do here, please like and subscribe so you can be notified when we post new videos. We hope to see you soon here at the Weather Farm.